Recording has started.
Welcome to the first recitation with Fiore, who makes the trainings run on time for Fab Academy, version control, and GitLab. Fiore?
Hi everybody. Today we will see some tools for working groups, so collaborating with other people and sharing your content, and hopefully also some project management to better address the deadlines that you have for Fab Academy. Just introduce myself. I work in software since 1993. I graduated in Fab Academy in 2014, and I'm working in staff and as a global evaluator in Fab Academy. I started my Fab lab in Cascina, which is now closed, and a regional network of labs. I think a couple are still alive. I helped set up some labs around the world, and as on the software side, I helped build some of the projects for the Fab Lab network. Like I have started Factory, which is a small studio where I do my things, and among which this is a workshop that I run around the world about making things in Fab Lab. And today we'll talk about the version control, which is kind of the basic protocol that we use for exchanging information in the Fab Lab network. The Fab Cloud platform, which is the set of tools that we use to do version control, but not only. Some tips on project management and some tips on making documentation and sharing documentation. So version control is basically a technique where you keep a snapshot of your files in time, and you can build basically a project out of these snapshots that you take during the project development. In a way, for doing that, we use Git, as Neil told you during class. And this is a very, very important software for the open source community, for the, let's say, because this is managing the biggest project probably in the open source community, which is the Linux kernel, but also powers, it's the channel where all the open source project can be accessible to everybody. You can see that we organize all the content and all the organization working into the Fab Academy using this group system. Now, a quick overview of how you can use GitLab for project management. So basically, I need now to access GitLab, so I can show you directly. I can create a new project very easily from the interface. And when you see here, you can create a blank project, so an empty repository, but you also have the opportunity, apart from creating from templates, to import other projects. And when you create a project, you can select also the visibility of the project. This is another very useful thing, because you can create a project that can be shown only to internal users. So for this big organization, for example, or you can create private projects for things that you don't want to share with other people, but you still want to have ready on GitLab for the future, for example. Okay, projects. Managing projects, because you can use the issue tracker as a way to visualize and represent all the work that you have to do in a project, and all the problems or the issues or the things that have to be researched for that project. We go back to our demo. I have an empty issue now. I can create a new issue and say plan for the next recitation, for instance. Okay, this now becomes an item that I can track. I can assign due date.
Machines, labs, training, people, projects. And then you can map many to one or one to many. And then you can walk the API, and we use it to generate lists of who's authorized for what machine, documentation in the labs. Walking the API, actually, by making these associations, you can use sort of all of GitLab as a giant database. that's become really valuable to run our lab.
The kind of support that really gives the API is that you don't have to rebuild most of the things that you usually have to build in a group collaboration application. So the authentication, managing groups, managing users, all this stuff, it's already built in the platform. You can write application that log in with GitLab, for example. Yep. This is probably the most important feature for me, for GitLab, for this collaboration, because it allows to do a lot of things out of the content that we store inside GitLab. Imagine we have content. Logic that can be triggered every time we modify the content. So just to understand how powerful, we can take the example of the website publishing. Listen to this, because this means free hosting for under GitLab. So this is also a practice that you should learn, to give proper attribution for the materials you use in your presentations.
Two comments to start. One is to let everybody know how fortunate we have to have Fiore doing this. He's a master of everything he described, and it's a great resource for the network. And one suggestion, which is it's very easy to just start with a directory on your computer, turn it into a Git repo, and practice with branching and merging and do all the things. So you don't have to do everything through the cloud on your own computer. You can experiment with creating and managing your own Git repos.